This is a massive game for national acclaim, national regard as far as I was concerned. And the winner of this one is looking pretty for a Big Ten championship appearance. But I think Iowa's in a different tier right now. So let's go right into the predictions and talk about it. And while we're looking at these betting lines, Iowa opens as a -2.5 favorite on BetMGM. The over-under set very low at 41.5, which, two great defenses, two very good defenses, whatever you want to call them. That's why that number is right there. We don't have any team total over and unders yet because it's pretty early in the week. We're recording this on a Sunday. But Thad, when you look at -2.5 and over under 41.5, what comes to mind?
Go Hawks.
Love it.
Yeah, I there's a lot of things about this Penn State team that I like in terms of, you mentioned on offense, but the pieces, it just isn't adding up. And again, on defense, there's a ton of NFL level talent, and it's a good defense, but they make some plays that leave you scratching your head at different times as well. And I think it's another situation where Iowa's discipline is going to factor in. And the other thing is there's going to be a massive Kinnick Stadium advantage as well. Hosting this game is so important. And I just think it's Iowa's offense is starting to round into shape. This defense is absolutely unbelievable. I think Penn State, Dotson might get free on something. He might make a play. Like, he's an unbelievable wide receiver, and he's going to make something happen, and Penn State's going to at least score. But I don't see Penn State getting to 20 against this defense, and I do see this Iowa offense getting to at least 20 against this Penn State defense. And maybe it's not just Iowa's offense. Last year we saw the defense score. I could see Charlie Jones finally getting free. He's been so close on whether it's a punt return or a kick return for this Iowa team as well. And special teams are going to play a huge role because for Penn State, Dotson's their return man. And, having somebody like Terry Roberts and having Torrey Taylor that can angle a punt or, blast one into the sky is going to be so important. So I'm seeing it as Iowa. I've got it at 22-16. So in my opinion, I've got Iowa with the win. But I have the overall under because I do think defensively, you do have two really good defenses playing in this one.
Yeah, and you brought up Kinnick, and sometimes you get trapped into the mindset of just looking at these matchups as far as as if they were being played on a neutral site. You know what I mean? And on a neutral site, I kind of put this game at 23-14, 23-17 Iowa. And when you factor in Kinnick and everybody being amped up, and I think that Iowa's atmosphere is really going to be felt for one of the biggest games in the past 50 years for Iowa. I look at this game and I'm thinking 27-13, 27-16, something like that. I think that Iowa gets this, gets a couple turnovers in this game. And I am giving more points, actually, leeway to Penn State because I think that Spencer Petras is going to be taking off his progressions at some point in this game. And he's going to make maybe a bad decision and turn over to an athletic defense. But Iowa, structure-wise on offense, has the ability to take advantage of this Penn State defense. And defensive-wise for Iowa, what else can you say? I mean, they are so elite. They fly around the ball on every single level. They have guys who can match up with anybody that gets thrown at them. Even a guy like Jahan Dotson, who is a very, very good player, NFL player. I would even argue even potentially a first-round player. I know that he's not getting a lot of the hype to be a first-round player right now because of, I guess he weighs 182. He has a slenderer frame, and he's a smaller guy. But we've seen guys coming out of this Penn State offense like KJ Hamler make an impact in the NFL, and I think Jahan Dotson is a little bit better a player than KJ Hamler ever was. So Penn State has a lot of talent, but Iowa's defense is just on another level in terms of how they're playing right now and just looking better and better every single week. And they played a better offense, in my opinion, last week, and look what happened. 7 turnovers.
Yeah, I want to go that route, and I'm so glad to hear how confident you are with that because that's the route I want to go. I can't get there yet, But I just feel like as every day goes by and I start thinking about this, like I've got to take my like worrisome coach mentality off for a little bit, because from my coaching background, like you're always worried about what's going to go wrong and planning for all the things somebody does well. But I have to also turn that and look at Iowa. And if I'm facing Iowa, like those signals are going off like, oh man, we got to account for their special teams, this defense. The offense is hitting some big plays. Tyler Goodson's as good as anybody in the Big Ten at the running back position. And just trust that what we're seeing out of this team is a level of cohesion that 15 team had, but more talent. And let's be honest about that. Like across the board, there is more talent across the entire roster right now than there was at that point. So I just think this team has something special, and I don't see them losing to Penn State in Kinnick Stadium.
Yeah, and this Iowa offense only continues to improve. This Iowa team only continues to improve week by week. Still a young defensive line. Kyler Schott's getting back healthy at right guard. I mean, they're just getting better and better. And when you compare this Penn State team to Penn State teams that were great in the past, like the Trace McSorley teams, and, I guess the only ones that come back recent-minded are the Trace McSorley teams, because he was such a great staple for them for so many years. But those Penn State teams were national title contending level talented teams. I don't see that with this Penn State team. I'd be surprised if they make the college football playoff and run the table from here on out all the way through the Big Ten championship game. And I think Iowa right now is a team that is playing up to a caliber that we haven't seen from an Iowa team in a very long time, 2015 included. And there's no reason to go against them and think that they're going to take a step back in this game.